Hi, I'm Carl Lucci, founder of the I Refuse to Fail Partnership, and at our weekly meetings, we have a discussion between our partners and our guests, and those who want to participate uh, can chime in and discuss the topic. Usually it's a challenge or something we hope that's going to help people, and anybody that would like to partake in any of these discussions, we welcome you to just go to irefusetofail.com and chime in. Usually we have a partner, but today I'm going to bring up a topic, and this is something that I think that most everybody has run into. I know I have in the past years ago when I was doing a lot of sales, is that you've either had one, two, or three meetings, but you're at the meeting where you want somebody to make a decision. No, I don't want it, or yes, I do want it. But then what you get at the end of that is like, well, I'd really like to think about it, or can I get back to you? Or I have to talk it over with somebody. I think everybody has run into that situation in a sale. In fact, it usually happens more often than not with a lot of people. And I think there is a solution to that, but it's not for me to say right now. I'll chime in at the end. But I'd like to see if you ever run into this with people, and if you have, how did you handle it, or what do you think the best way to handle it is? And so, if anybody has anything they want to say about that, go ahead. Otherwise, I'll just give mine. Louise, were you raising your hand or were you scratching your hand? Okay. All right. Colleen,
Hi, Carl. I would have them vote.
you would have them what?
Vote. Like, tell me right then.
Vote?
I would ask them on the spot, like, okay, so is yours yes or no? And then just go around and ask everybody.
Okay, but what if okay, so it's a sales situation, you're doing Go High Level and you're trying to sell the services that you do for Go High Level, and it's time for them to sign up, but they're saying, well, I want to think about it, or I need to talk it over with somebody. How do you handle that?
If they say they want to think about it, I say there's no better time than the present. What questions do you have that I can answer for you right now? And if they
Okay.
say that they want to talk to somebody else, then I say, are they the decision maker in your family? And if they say yes, then I say, are they available? Because I'd love to also consult with them and answer any questions they have before you have that conversation.
Okay, that's good. All right. Anybody else? Anybody ever run into that situation, or you've never run into it? So everybody, Oleg.
No, when I was doing sales, I ran into this situation constantly. And it's one of these things that, I don't know there is a good answer. If somebody doesn't want to buy your stuff, they don't want to buy your stuff. Whether they're using some sort of excuse to, you know, to basically have you leave without being not nice to you, to put it mildly. That's one reason. But the bottom line is if they don't want to buy, they don't want to buy. So I don't think there is a magic formula, at least that I've seen, that would say no, 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 no. If they want to talk to their wife, just tell them that they can, they have their own head and blah blah blah. That never works. Okay, it never works. It's like in Glengarry Glen Ross movie when the gentleman could not get the sale with Al Pacino. He just wanted his wife wanted to get the money back. You can talk all day long. You're still not going to convince them to buy if they don't want to buy, in my opinion.
Okay. All right. Hi.
Which part you want to think over? I give you presentation for half an hour to an hour. You
No,
want to think it
no.
over. Which part you want to think over?
Oh, okay. That's what you would say to the person.
Right. Which part you want to think over?
Okay.
What
So you
what
would
you don't
ask,
understand?
okay. So you would do like what Colleen says. Is there anything I can answer for you, to help you make the decision? Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Anybody else? Okay. Well, I'll give you my thoughts on it. Okay. And I think a lot of people have run into this. Most everybody, I've worked with a lot of people in consulting that say they just have a hard time closing it or whatever. I think when you get to the point in a sale where you know that it's time to make the decision. Now, some people, depending on what you're selling, and every situation is different. And by the way, nothing's 100%. It's not nothing you do is going to be 100%, but you can lessen the problem greatly by taking control of the sale in the very beginning. And there's nothing wrong with when you get ready to meet with somebody and you say, okay, you've gotten all the information correct. And if I need to answer anything else, I'll be happy to answer it today. Is that correct? Are you ready to make a decision today? Or do you feel you're going to need to think it over? Or do you think you're going to need to talk over with somebody? Because yes is great for you, great for me. No is totally acceptable. If it's not for you, it's not for you. But I need to think about it, or I don't know, or whatever is unacceptable if you've gotten all the information. Now, if you haven't gotten all the information, let's do that. Let's make sure you have all the information so you can make a qualified yes or no decision. Would that be okay, Mr. Client? And then because people will lie to you. Usually when they tell you they want to think it over or they want to get back to you, it just means that it's too expensive, usually, okay? Or it's not for them and they want to let you down easy, okay? Because they're not going to get back to you, all right? They'll just, no, I don't want it. It's too expensive. Because if you did all that and told them, oh, by the way, it's absolutely free. There's no cost. They'd sign up for it right then because there's no risk, right? There's nothing. So there's got to be something that they didn't like about it. So just don't allow them to lie to you, okay? Now, if it's a legitimate reason, it just means that they don't have all the information. And if they don't have all the information, you can ask them that before you get to the point to where you're going to make that sale, whether it's meeting 1, meeting 2, meeting 3, however many meetings it takes to get there. Because there's only one win in this for both people, and that's it. It's a yes, or even if it's a no. And if it's a no, I'm sorry, it's just not for me. Then you also have the right to say, well, what is it I didn't do? Because I know that this is a good product or whatever. What is it I didn't do because I need to learn so that I don't have this problem again? Is there something about it you don't like? That way you're going to learn, and you're also making them a hero because they can tell you, okay, if they just say it's too expensive, well, then what are you going to do in place of that? If you're not going to do this, what are you going to do? So then you take it both to help you make better sales, because you might not be, giving the information correctly, at least to that person, but you might learn something from it. And also, you can thank them and part company, with a no, and it's fine. But anyway, Chaim, did you want to say something?
Yeah, I have a question that I asked beforehand to qualify if the person making the decision or not. When I ask, it's kind of, I disguise the question before I even go to presentation. I simply ask, I want to know how you know when you do the right thing. This is a simple question. How do you know when you do the right thing? So there is two kind of answer that leading. Either you use your feeling or you use your head. When you use your head, which is mean you need to ask somebody else to help you to make the decision, which is you don't make decision. When you use your heart, use your feeling, you're the person that make the decision. So I avoid this kind of uncomfortable place when it's come to the decision making.
Well, I don't think it has to be uncomfortable, and you don't have to be nasty with it, but there's nothing wrong with setting the parameters of the sale with somebody, okay, before you get into it. Because I've heard people have told me they've given 3 presentations to someone, and they knew darn well this was good for them. They knew it was good for them, but they just couldn't pull the trigger because they couldn't make the decision. And so sometimes you have to help them along to do that. Did you like what they said? Does it make did I check all the boxes? Did we cross all the T's, dot all the I's? Then, what would, if you just want to say no, that's fine. Okay. But if we going to have to continue getting back, because 9 times out of 10, they're not going to get back to you. Okay. They're just trying to be polite and bow out. I mean, not every situation is the same. Don't get me wrong.
No, I understand. That's the reason I say if you can qualify the person beforehand,
absolutely.
That's easy on you. That's the reason the question asked.
And that's really what I'm saying. You qualify it before you get started. Okay. And I mean, whether it's you're selling a car or whatever, it doesn't really matter. If they like the way it ran and all that, and is it the money? I mean, you can, What's the issue? Let's cover that so that you can make a yes or no decision, because people will string you along if you allow them to string you along. Either you control the sale or they control the sale, one or the other. It can't work both ways. So anyway, that's my viewpoint. Does anybody else have anything final you want to say about this, or we'll just close this out? Okay, well, Oleg.
I respectfully disagree. I think if somebody wants to talk to their wife legitimately, it doesn't have to be any particular reason, price, or anything else. They just want to, they make all decisions together. So drilling them like this, if you were going to do it to somebody like myself, you're only irritating me. You're not accomplishing anything. If you're asking me a question about what can I, there is no question. I need to talk to my wife. That's the answer.
No.
And so,
okay.
Yeah.
I hear you. I hear what you're saying. And this is what I'm talking about pre-qualifying. If you've done your job in the sales presentation, is this something you're going to be able to make a decision on, or are you going to need to speak to your wife about it? Okay. So you get that out of the way before you get to the close. You find out all the reasons why somebody may or may not be able to make a decision, and you try to pre-qualify that. That's kind of like, trying to sell something to a homeless person, selling Mercedes-Benz to a homeless person. If you don't find out ahead of time everything as much as you can, you're just wasting your time giving presentations. Colleen?
I would agree with both of you, but that's why I ask if they're handy, if they can step into the conversation so I can answer their questions as well, instead of maybe having them come back later with more questions, rather just address them all at the same time.
Absolutely. And that's why I say, if you have to talk this over with your wife, can you bring your wife in? Can you bring your team member in? Can you bring this person in? Let's cover everything. So you don't give them that easy out. Okay. And it's not being cruel. It's just being
well,
business.
and even if you give them an easy out, even if you, let's give Oleg the benefit of the doubt. Did you hear that, Oleg? Give Oleg the benefit of the doubt. Let's say that they want to talk to their spouse, and you say, okay, that's great. I assume you're going to be able to speak to them tonight, so let's get back together again tomorrow and just set the next time so that
Exactly.
they know and they can keep it top of mind.
Absolutely. No sense in going into it until you've got all the T's crossed and the I's dotted. I agree 100%. So if you got to talk it over with the wife, go talk with the wife, or have your wife come tomorrow if she's not there today, or pick a time that we can do it.
She's not coming tomorrow. She's not coming tomorrow because she doesn't want to. And that's the end of the story. And I can't come tomorrow either.
Okay, then basically
You're
what
not
you're telling me
interested,
is,
Oleg, and that's okay.
yeah, and that's fine,
They're
because then it's just a no answer. It's not I'll get back
Right.
to you.
Right.
And,
Right.
well,
It's a no
there you
answer.
go. Like I said, it's either a yes answer, a no answer, but I got to do something else before I do it is unacceptable.
Yeah, but if you put the foot down saying it's a no answer, then it potentially can turn into, okay, I mean, I thought we were actually going to do something, but if you don't want to wait, then I guess the answer is no. So you're potentially losing a sale that way.
But yeah, you wouldn't have got it anyway. You're going to waste all your time with that person while you could be selling it to somebody that really wanted it or needed it.
No, there's another possibility. He went to talk to the missus. She agreed that this is a good thing to do. He comes back and he says, let's do it. That's another possibility. Why are you ignoring that possibility?
Right. That's why we set the time frame that we're going to meet back with you again tomorrow or in 3 days or whenever.
Or you can ask them, when do you think you'll be able to make the decision? And all I really need is an email. You don't even need to call me. We don't need to get on Zoom. You can say, yeah, I'm ready to go, or no, it's not for me. No problem. But people need to make the, you've got either you control the sale or they control the sale. That's all we're saying. But all this nothing works 100%. That's only going to take care of 90 to 95%. There's going to be always that other situation, I've got a headache today and I really can't think, or whatever it is, but I got a plane to catch in 30 minutes. I got to leave. I mean, they can come up with 1,001 excuses, but in general is what I'm talking about, because not every sales situation is ever the same, or usually is not. So I think that most of the sale can be, as long as you've answered all the questions, as long as you've done a good job selling too. You got to make sure they have all the information needed. And as long as they have all the information needed, there's no reason why you can't control the sale because say, well, if it's not right for you now, you've got my contact information. Get back to me whenever you feel it's right for you. But it's evidently a no for now. Okay, Chris.
Can I just kind of summarize something here with a question?
Sure.
So with you, Carl, is the presentation kind of like a going over all the information you've sent?
Well, like I said before, it depends on the product or service that you're selling. If it's an in-person type thing,
Right.
as to whether or not, I think if you think it's going to be a multi-step sale, like we got to meet 2 or 3 times to make sure you have all the information. Fine. If it's a one-time, you go along and say, in the presentation, this is not the close. Does this make sense to you? Remember, selling is not telling, it's asking.
Right.
So
Right.
you have them ask questions, or you ask them questions, and then you fill that need. If you fill that need, then you say, have I answered all your questions to where you can make a decision? Well, I have to think about it. Well, can you tell me what it is you want to think about so that I can help you out with that? Or, I want to see if somebody's got it for less money, well,
Right.
You're welcome to do that. Go shop. Okay.
Yeah.
And then let me know. But the thing is that's the situation where somebody else, if it's a one-time sale. Now, if it's a 2-time sale, the first time you should have covered that. Second time, they should have done their shopping. Okay.
Yeah.
And then you can even give them a reason why yours might be better, even though yours is $10 more. Okay.
Mhm. Right.
But there's always that situation. And this is why that's why I say it doesn't cover every situation, but because I've trained this before with different people, and every situation is a little bit different and depends whether it's a service or a product or whatever, So it's an individual situation, but in general, if you control and pre-qualify someone before you get into doing it, like I said, if you're going to try to sell Mercedes-Benz in front of 15 homeless people, good luck with that. Okay.
Right.
You didn't pre-qualify the people you were talking to. And so you pre-qualify to make sure that it's going to be right for them. And you do that with a few questions, and before you even get into it, because people will waste your time.
Yeah.
Not
Yeah.
intentionally. Sometimes
No.
they're curious, but they will waste your time. Okay. And you don't want to waste your time with people wasting your time.
No.
That's
Very
fine.
interesting though, because like a lot of people will say, like keep the interest and then go and present what you have. But this is like, no, give them the information and then kind of like finalize it at the meeting.
Well, and another one, also, if you don't make the sale, well, what is it? I'd like to know what it is that is keeping you
Right.
from doing it. So, you're not making the sale anyway. You might as well learn something. So, ask them what it is where they couldn't make that decision. And do you know anybody else that might be interested in it?
Right.
Ask to be connected to somebody else or a referral,
Right.
if somebody else, might be able to use it. So you're not leaving everything as a no. So, make it, but then, if I hate it when somebody goes into a sales situation and they do a 30-40 minute presentation and the person says, that's interesting. I'll need to think about that. I'll get back to you. You might as well have just done a seminar somewhere and hope somebody calls you up and wants it, So,
Exactly.
so it's just about controlling the sale. That's really what I'm talking about. So
Interesting. Thank you.
Yep. Okay. All right. One last chance. If anybody else has anything to say, then I'm going to close out this video, and next week we'll have another business topic. So, and by the way, just to let you know, our partners are now having their own events on different days and different times. So if you want to check with us on that, we'll be adding different days and different times for partners. And so we hope to see you all soon. And now I'm going to stop the video.